Meet me at the trap. It's going down. Hey, 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 hey.
It's crazy.
Hello, everybody. It is another Wednesday. This is my show, my own podcast. I'm your host, Kenda, and I got two dope guests in the building today. Yes. Got my girl Savannah from Lupus Has No Face podcast.
Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all.
Yeah. Hey, sis. She in the building. And we got Xene
What's
in the
up?
building, y'all.
What's up, y'all?
Yes. This is her first time coming on the show.
Yes, this is my first time actually on a podcast ever.
Let's go then.
Popping cherries today all
See,
day.
I broke her podcast virginity.
Woo, baby, you better know it.
Cherry pop.
Stupid.
Yes.
Pop. All right. So today we are going to talk about trauma, dating,
Yes.
and rebuilding while parenting.
Woo, girl.
That's a lot of layers, sis.
It's
gonna be a
onion
1,
for
2,
sure.
3.
Yes.
It's definitely we gonna have to. We probably gonna need more time.
Ooh, not a part two.
Maybe that's what I'm talking about. A part
Okay.
two,
Mm.
where Xene comes back.
Yes.
She's no longer a virgin.
Yes. Yes. They took it, y'all. They didn't took it.
Yes. So I'm excited.
Me too.
So we got a lot to talk about.
Okay.
So today is about it's basically for every parent, I would say, out there trying to figure out how to date while they're healing,
Yes.
show up for their kids, and still hold space for their own growth.
Absolutely.
So what are your thoughts on this? Like when we talk about trauma, how do you feel like that goes with everything?
I definitely feel as though like trauma is something that you got to start from where you came from with trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
So think about like our parents and how we always, as we grew up, we like, you don't want to be like your parents. You want to be better. You want to succeed. You want to be a better example to your child.
Mm-hmm.
But then how?
Right.
So I had to honestly sit back when I think 22 was the hardest time frame in my life. I lost my dad. In the midst of that, I lost my job. Like everything was just falling apart, right? And I'm like, I have at the same time, like I was in a relationship, the family dynamic, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that fell apart. And I was like, I just can't get a hold of life. I think reality then hit me where it was like my mom didn't have the book.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? To get us through those time frames when she was going through it. I couldn't sit back and say, I saw her go through these things. She was always strong. She always kept things together.
Yeah.
So when it was my turn on the table, it was like, who am I to judge a parent? And they're going through things and, you don't know how that dynamic look and feel like. So I think when trauma hit me, that was a lot for me to take on. And then in the reality, I still every day had to wake up and show up and be a parent.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where I honestly felt like there was no purpose for me here anymore. You know what I mean? I'm like, everything just snatched.
Yeah.
And I crumbled. I was falling apart. And even looking at my son, it was still those moments where I was like, he probably better without me than with me, because who am I? Like I couldn't cipher who I was, what kind of person I was, what kind of mother I was. I didn't know how to keep it together because it wasn't together. I was so used to things being together. And then trauma made me sit to myself and realize that it's not easy. It's not, parenting is not, a book. You're never gonna, even if somebody else went through the same exact thing, they'll never go through it the same way I went through it or process it the same way I processed it. So I honestly had to sit down and get to myself, and I'm just like, I'm bigger than that.
Yeah.
My purpose is bigger than that. My son needs me here. And I allowed myself to actually go through it. I was tired of being strong.
Yeah.
Every day people want to see you as a strong person. Like I smile a lot. Even when I'm going through things, I think that's just my best coping mechanism. But in the same breath, it's like, what is that doing?
Right.
I was literally hiding the pain. I was literally decompressing in front of the world without the world even knowing that I was falling apart. And so I think that trauma and parenting go hand in hand so much. Like trying not to let your child see you go through things, I think is one of the worst things that a parent can do.
Yeah.
Because it's the reality. This is life. This is what life really is. When they're getting older, they should be able to know that it's okay.
Yeah.
You will fall apart, but when you don't know that it's okay to fall apart because you've always seen the women in your life be so strong, you lose it. You
Yeah,
break.
I agree.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree.
You fall apart. You like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like this ain't, I don't know how to get through it. I'm strong up until now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was just a lot.
That's, you know what, and that I can identify with that. I would say for me, when I was coming up, I didn't have my biological father. I had my stepdad who was raising me. So I feel like trauma was already there, right
Yeah.
there. Just right there.
Absolutely.
Right there automatically. Um I was being raised by my mother and my stepfather, and then I had two new siblings.
Yeah.
From my stepdad, and now they're my brother and sister. And
Mhm.
it's, oh, you're calling him dad. I went from just being me and my mom to now it's me, my mom, this man who is now a parent figure in my life, and he has two kids. Meanwhile, I got siblings with my biological father that I'm not close to at all, or I
Mhm.
haven't met yet, and didn't realize, what that was. So when I was coming up, like I always felt like something was off, like I didn't belong, or like I needed to figure something out, and I was just a kid.
Yeah.
So seeing that, and then when my mom and my stepdad split up, it was like, okay, I didn't have my biological dad. I finally connected with him when I was like maybe in like middle school or so. Finally connected with him, and then I seen the dynamic he had with the family, and it was my sister and her mom, and then my brother was living there. So it was like I'm bouncing back and forth from two households. So I got to see already like this blended family.
Yes.
And I was just so confused. Like I didn't understand, like, what's going on here. And over time, I just grew up, and I just took things as I could take them, and I did my best. But then now you got this preconceived notion of like, what does a family structure look like? What does a relationship look like? And my mom and my stepdad divorcing, I just was like, okay, I still want that though. I
Yes.
still want to one day be married. I still want to have my own family. So it didn't change that for me. But when it did happen, when I finally did have my own family, I got married.
Mm.
I didn't know who I was.
Yes.
I didn't know who I was. I didn't know um what to expect. I was kind of hesitant on getting married because I had seen marriages fail.
Yep.
And then I got married, and it was like all about going just by his family house and doing stuff with his family. And we would do things occasionally with my family, but it was more so about everything his family was doing. We did holidays over there. We did all this stuff with them. And I was just like, man, I don't like this. So I started to like try and figure out like, who is Kenda?
Yeah.
What does Kenda want?
Yeah.
All while being a mom.
Yes.
I got 4 kids.
Yeah.
So helping them understand, who they are, who they want to be. And then I'm still struggling to figure that out.
Absolutely.
So I get that. Like, so yeah, there's the trauma.
Mm-hmm.
There's that dating stage I went through, just trying to figure out like what was I looking for in a man?
Yes.
It was hard to identify that.
Mm-hmm.
I was told like a man's supposed to do this, a man's supposed to do that. And nowadays, when guys talk about being a man, it's not nothing like what my dad told me it was.
Baby, we could talk about it.
Yeah. So it's like nothing. There's very minimal responsibilities when it comes to men courting women and things like that. Now they don't want that. They call it chasing. And
yes.
Like it's even worse now. So I'm thinking like, dang, with my kids, like
yes.
My oldest daughter, she's 21. She's trying to date, and
yes.
she's having rough experiences with these young men.
Mm-hmm.
So like the trauma continues.
Yes.
So yeah, that's my perspective on it. What about you, sis? What's yours?
I'm trying to like, well, for me, my sister and my father raised me.
Okay.
I'm a twin.
Mm-hmm.
but we wasn't raised together for very long. I never felt the type of way though. I never felt the way. Even as growing up, I never felt the way. So I can say my mom rubbed me the wrong way when I was a freshman in college. When I came home, which was my sister's house, my house, and she was there. And I came in the door, and she met me at the door, and she was like, "You think you all of that?" I quote.
Wow.
I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "What is you? What?" She's like, "You think you all of that? This is why I don't like you." And I'm like,
Your
come.
mom said
I'm
that
like,
to you.
"Come get," and I wasn't all the way in the house yet. Like I was just coming off of vacation from school. I'm like, "Man, come get her." Like I'm calling my sister's name to come get her. I'm like, "Come get her." And at that moment, it was all hurt at that time. And then I dealt with it. It was like everything in that moment. So I was hurt. I dealt with it and I was over it.
Yeah.
But I never disrespected her.
Yeah.
I never questioned her. If anything, my sister had more questions as to why she wasn't there for me than I ever did. I never cared.
Right.
It never bothered me. Why? I don't know. People will say to this day, like, "Oh, you have trauma." No, I don't have trauma. You can't put that on me. You can't put that on me. I never missed a beat as far as how a woman is supposed to be raised or what they're supposed to have or any of that. You know what I mean? And I feel like I look at life a lot different because I grew up when I was younger. I was sick too. So I look at life a lot different. So I feel like maybe if she was in my life, it would be different.
Yeah.
So as far as when it comes to parents, I don't have any trauma.
Okay.
Like I never thought for one second, like, oh my God, I wonder what it would be like if my mom raised me or if she was in my house, or I never overly do things with my kids because my mom wasn't there. Because I was the baby, so I was always overly protected anyways. So there was never a void for none of that.
Wow.
And then as far as my dating, I was so spoiled when I was younger and still grown. No man can come to me if they weren't doing anything for me because I was raised from love. So I knew what it felt like emotionally, and I knew what it felt like materialistically.
Okay.
So if anybody, whether it was a man or a woman, like if y'all wasn't treating me right, I couldn't be around y'all because I was raised off of love. You know what I'm saying? So I never had that. And then for me, like when you say the dynamics of a blended family, I'm okay with that. I had it and I didn't like it.
Okay.
It was very manipulative. I feel like it only will be weak if a man is not a man, because a man sets the foundation of a home with his kids.
Absolutely.
And if the woman is study telling the man the problem, and the kids is really actually never disrespecting the woman, but they still are doing things like physically but not verbally being disrespectful. If the man never sets the foundation in front of the woman, like family meetings, then that child will continue to disrespect. So I feel like if the man is not really a man and doesn't set the foundation of a home, that's when it becomes a problem. And unfortunately, I was in that situation when a man wasn't 100% of a man as to why the household wasn't structured the way that it was. Because I came with authority and he wasn't an authority figure, but I was an authority figure. So our households was totally different before we actually blended. So for me, moving forward, if a man is not a man, we cannot have a blended family.
How do you think it impacted your kids?
I think for my son, it impacted him the worst.
It impacted him the worst.
Only because he felt as if I was being used, and I was trying to explain to him, if a real woman is going to treat the step kids like they would treat the birth kids. There is no difference for me in my world. You don't get, it's not a you get this and then you only can get what's left over. I treated them identically, and my son especially did not like that. He couldn't understand that. Like, why are you buying these expensive things? Well, I buy you guys these expensive things. So he didn't like anything about it.
Yeah.
So I just feel like he couldn't wrap his head around the blended family type of thing.
Yeah.
Like that he felt like as if they should have gotten less because they wasn't biological. And I don't operate like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know where he got that thought process from. I don't know, but
that's how he feels.
Were the children in the household like disrespectful at times to you, or like push back into things that you were saying to them?
That's a good question.
Maybe in hindsight with the kids, but never in front of me. Like, never in front of me. But kids see other stuff that parents don't see.
Because I was thinking like maybe he reflected off of that. You go to the room and you hear how someone may communicate or conversate about your parent, and that will make you personally feel like, well, you don't deserve what my mom is doing for you if this is how you feel about her. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, no, they wasn't really boisterous until later.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like they had more trauma than anything because they didn't have their mom for a while because she left them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I can relate to that too, because when I was coming up, they my brother and sister. I only say step so that y'all understand like the differences between the relationship.
Right.
So I'm only using that word step just so you understand, like these are siblings that my add-on siblings that I got when my mom married my stepdad. But even them, they were dealing with trauma with their mother because my stepdad's ex-wife, they had issues with that, like trying to see her, and we, visiting, seeing her every weekend or every other weekend. And so it was like all this trauma in one household. Like me trying to understand how come it was no longer just me and my mom and what made her feel she needed a man. I'm like, I'm enough, mama. You don't need no man.
Yeah.
That's how I felt at a young age.
Yeah.
Like, I still can't. And I used to tell my siblings, I used to be like, well, y'all do know if they don't make it, it's just gonna be me and my mama, and y'all gonna have to stay here with him.
That's okay.
Okay. I mean, because I felt away. I really felt away coming up. Like, how dare she get a man? And we was fine.
Yeah.
But see, I didn't know what we were.
Yeah.
Because like you said, she was a strong woman. I only saw the strong points of her. And so I didn't understand. I was little. What she needed a man for, because she was doing it by herself.
And that's the dynamic, like really where that topic or that conversation come into play, because your child is used to seeing you in a certain dynamic. Right. And we can, like, for me, I unpack it like dating is a world of its own, right?
Right.
And then I have to learn how to intertwine dating with being a single mom. I'm so cautious around that because, like you said, people get brought up in different kind of worlds and different kind of atmospheres. So you like, well, what am I intertwining when I introduce my son to this kind of dynamic with a different family? For me, so I said my dad died in 22. That was my biological father, and we did not have a relationship.
Wow.
But that was, to me, still my dad, but my mom has been with my stepdad, shout out to him, which is who I call my dad, since I was 7. So we seen that dynamic of my mom then getting into a relationship. I wasn't that child that was like, it's me. You just got me. But I was one of those kids that was like, well, why my dad not here? Like, why he didn't love me? So when me and my son's dad split up, my whole world was like, I have to protect him from this. Right. I didn't know how to get him to understand where this happens. You talking about a 5-year-old child that you're trying to show a different dynamic or a different world to.
Yep.
So I really sat back and I was like, how do I balance being a mom, my career or school, and then intertwining with trying to find love again? Because honestly, I believe, this is my belief, that we are put on this earth for man and woman to be one. You know what I mean? For you to have a mate. Like, we're supposed to do that in this world.
Exactly what I feel.
Okay. So when I come into that dynamic, I feel like because we were not, a lot of us, men and women, were not raised to see what like affection looks like, what blended families look like. Like, so I went to a primarily, white church when we were growing up, and we literally would go hang out with them on holidays, birthdays, like Christmas, Thanksgiving, and it will be the dad, the stepdad, the mom, the stepmom, and they're all in the house. The mom and the stepmom is in the kitchen cooking. We as the
Wow.
kids were running around playing. The stepdad is on the couch watching football. And I'm like, this is possible, right?
Mhm.
Always as a kid, because I didn't see it in my household. My dad wasn't around, so it wasn't an issue, but I saw it. So I'm like, okay, this is possible.
Yeah.
Until I got an adult, until I became a mother. And then I realized, like, hold on. Because when my son dad moved on, the hardest thing was for us to do, and it still is that lag there, is to blend us.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where people have to understand, like, for me, it's like, if you're over something, you're genuinely over it. It's not the dynamic of the relationship anymore. It's more of the dynamic of
Just wanting the family.
we're a family.
Yep.
Like, this child has to see us co-parent.
Yep.
And not just me and you as a mom and dad, but me, you, and whoever you introduce into your world, and then whoever I bring into our world. We have to all understand and respect each other, because we were here before them.
Yeah.
And when they come in, we all got to just get a full. So when it became my turn, then it was like, it ain't no book for this.
Yeah, ain't no manuscript.
Where's the book? Like, every time I hit a curve, here go another curveball, because there's no book. And
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but like, our community, the African Americans, really do not look into blended families.
Mhm.
Like, they really don't see that dynamic of being like, we all can celebrate graduations together. We all can celebrate birthdays together. We all should be able to come together for the
holidays and
child.
for the child. Yep. And I agree with you. I still struggle with that to this
Yes.
day with my kid's dad. It's like, I get my kids for a week, then we rotate,
Mm-hmm.
and there's very minimal communication between him and I.
Same.
And I don't understand. Like, I mean, we've had conversations, and I've explained to him, like, I just want us to get along for the sake of these kids.
Mhm.
And it's not that we don't get along, but he's still very restricted.
Yes.
Like, he says a few things, and then we move on, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So I've come to terms with, this is what it's gonna be. Like,
Yeah.
now I got a 21-year-old daughter. My son will be 18 next year, and then I have an 11-year-old and a 7-year-old. So it's like I'm starting all over again with trying to help my kids understand, like, why me and their dad don't have this with a co-parenting type relationship. Like, we co-parent, but we don't co-parent.
Yes.
It's like, what happens over my house happens over here. What happens over there happens over there.
Yes.
And it's weird. Like, I hate that, but
Mhm.
that's just where we are. And like, I hope that one day we can get past this, but until he figures himself out, then this is just what it's gonna be.
And that's the part of healing.
Right. And
We
that's the
don't
thing.
heal.
He's not healed.
People
Exactly.
don't heal. They think
Exactly.
that, and they say time heals all wounds. I literally, from life, taught me that that's not true.
It's not true.
You can go 10 years and still have wounds about something.
Yeah.
You can go tomorrow and be like, I'm good. Like,
Mhm.
she like, I was good.
Yeah.
And then you got some people that sit in the corner and they over process, they overthinking, they digging deep, they clawing into a trauma, but they're not healing. They just clawing through it because they can't find. Like me, I'm a problem solver. So if I can't find a solution, I'm gonna keep clawing through it and keep clawing through it, but that's not healing me.
Right.
And sometimes you may not always find a solution. You got to find the healing for yourself.
That's true. That's true. Did you want this?
No, I'm gonna choke on
Okay. Good for you, babe. Yeah, I agree with you though. Like, it's a struggle. And when we talk about blended families, it was even if we take it a step further, is I got my mom's side of the family, I got my stepdad's side of the family, I got my biological side of the family. So it's like, oh my God, I got so much family.
Mhm.
Like, and it's like they don't all understand how you feel as a child,
Mhm.
trying to look at all these different parts of
Yes.
family. Like, it's tough. And then I had to come to the resolution of, like, when I go over my dad's house, my biological father's house, it's like, wow, y'all got to sit here and be raised by dad.
Mhm.
Y'all got to sit here and have a whole family with dad. Whereas I've been over here being raised by another man.
Yeah, trying to figure it out.
And so then those feelings hit me. It's
Mhm.
like, dang, so what happened?
Mhm.
And, you know, so then over time, you know, there's communication between me and my mom, and she's explaining to me, you know, this is what happened.
Mhm.
And it's crazy. I remember being in school, and my last name was different than my two other siblings.
Mhm.
And this was before my youngest sister was born. And the kids would be like, y'all not really brothers and sisters
Mhm.
because y'all got different last names. And I went home and I told my mom, I said, Mom, they're making fun of me at school saying we're not really brother and sister because my last name's different. So what did my mom do? Change my last name.
Uh-huh.
Now I got my stepdad's last name.
Uh-huh.
You know?
And more history
Yeah.
is just getting erased and pulled away from
Yeah.
us because we're just trying to adapt
Yeah.
instead of, again, getting to the solution.
Right. Getting to the solution.
Yeah.
And like the crazy part though, like with my kids now, like now my older two, they understand. They're like, so my son, he just had his prom and he was doing his send off, and he said,
Mhm.
Mom, are you coming? And I said, of course I'm coming. He was like, okay, well, Dad's gonna take me over there, and then you meet us over there. And then he actually said, unless, Mom, you think that's gonna be uncomfortable with Dad being there. Like,
See what I'm
it's,
saying?
it's
shouldn't be
yes,
that. Yeah,
it shouldn't be that. It's
Yeah.
even him asking me that, and I was like, no, I'm coming regardless.
Baby, I'm standing on that.
Yeah, I'm coming regardless.
I'm pulling up.
Like, you don't get to send off.
Yeah, without me,
Right,
standing
without
there,
me.
baby. Okay.
So, like, I had that conversation with him. I showed up, and he was just the happiest kid.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just, and it was a time where my youngest daughter got sick, and we all had to come together at the hospital.
But it shouldn't
You
take
know?
those moments.
Exactly.
It shouldn't take those moments.
Exactly. I would prefer it to be like, oh, we can just talk. We can talk about what these kids want to do, where they want to be at. But it's like when I'm over here, I'm making these decisions. When he over there, they making those decisions. My son will reach out to me, or, you know, my daughter will say, you know, Mom, this is how I feel about this. This is how I feel about that. And it's like I just do my best to juggle with it all. Like, it's tough.
Mhm.
I feel like it's because people not healed. Like,
That's
for
exactly
my
it.
son,
Mhm.
father, and my both. Like, I'm able to be. We are all able to co-parent.
Yeah.
Where it changes the jealousy. So
Mhm.
like, my ex will be uncomfortable because he's gonna follow suit because you don't have a choice.
Right.
So I put him in situations where it's all grandparents, my son, the father, his fiance, me, my dude, because this is what it is.
Mhm.
This is not about you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But so he's so used to, because his ex-wife, that lady's something else, different.
Okay.
And married, but want to control the household where we're at.
Mhm.
And I'm an alpha female, and that can't happen. So he's used to those dynamics. Whereas for me, it's kind of like, we chilling over here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he didn't like that.
Yeah.
But you're not finna take this away. And I feel like all it takes is a conversation. Even if you are uncomfortable, you're going to be uncomfortable until you are okay, because this is not about you.
Right.
Right.
This is not about me.
Yep.
This is about a child that we all love. Because
Mhm.
if you with me, you loving him. And if you not, then we cannot be.
Right.
Right.
You know, so I feel like people dummy down their values and their morals for relationships.
Mhm.
My
Ooh,
personal
talk about
opinion.
that.
Ooh, that's
And
deep.
then for me too, like
That's a deep one.
my kids come first, but they don't make decisions on who I'm gonna be with.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They can't dictate what it's gonna be like, and they not running my household.
Absolutely.
So
That's
for
supposed to be.
me, if a man's man is taking care of this family the proper way, but the kid just don't like, because kids can be manipulative.
Very much so.
And if
Especially
they
when
know that the parents don't
Yeah.
talk,
especially
Yeah.
when they know.
if they
Yeah.
know the parents don't talk, they're gonna play off you. They're gonna play off that, and
Mhm.
y'all gonna be mad at each other forever.
Mhm.
Instead of coming together, having
Yeah.
a conversation like adults, instead of and having conversations with this kid to delay these messages. That's, to me, that's dysfunctional as hell, if you ask me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you can't have a conversation, then this is not gonna move,
Yeah.
and you're gonna have to fold one way or another. You know what I'm saying? Because that's traumatic within a child, anyways. Delivering
Yes.
those type of conversations.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you can't do it by yourself. So if you are the parent that's doing it, and I'm like, that's not happening, don't come back to me telling me what your mama said. You're gonna eventually have to come my way.
Yeah.
Period.
You
Yeah.
have to talk to
Or
me.
I'm go to your man,
Mhm.
and your man is gonna set you straight. Somebody in the household gonna have to be on an adult level, because
Yeah.
that's petty.
Yeah.
Why are you so mad? And the
Mhm.
thing be, people do not be over their relationships as to why they don't have blended families, because it is
Mhm.
a lot of blended families that does happen here.
Yes.
Like you experienced my ex,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like we can go party wherever together. Like we not enemies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You
Right.
might now if it was an ex without a child, that's not happening. But you family, I have a child with you. You know what I'm
Amen.
saying? That's something totally different. We
Mhm.
got respect over here.
Yes.
You know, and I feel like once you get all those emotions out the way and who's big back wolf and all of that other stuff, then all of that will go out the door, because
Yeah.
your household should be ran as if it shouldn't be identical, but when it comes to the kids, we should
Dang
be on
near.
one accord.
There it
If
is.
you got a problem with how I'm doing stuff, then let's come together
Mhm.
and figure out how it's gonna work for the both of us.
Yeah.
Because one of us, we gotta compromise, because we doing it for our kids or we doing it for our sanity, right?
Mhm.
Right.
And if we can't do that, we're just both going to lose.
That's good.
So for me, that's how I'm. That's just my personal opinion, because I had the luxury of dealing with, having blended families,
Mhm.
Yes.
and they don't care. You know what I'm saying? They may feel, my ex may have felt something in that moment, but he better damn
Get
sure.
it together.
You know what I'm saying? We had graduations. Daddy just I'm with the daddy. Me, baby girl, the daddy taking pictures. Okay, now all four of us we all finna, because this is how it's supposed to be. Unfortunately, you did
Supposed to
not
be.
have this. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? And his parents are still together. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So he come from a family that's being married, but just because you come from a family that's being married, that doesn't mean that they was always happily married
That's
either.
exactly
Right.
it.
So is your household dynamics better because your parents are married versus us splitting apart, because your household could be hell
Yeah.
And they'll stay together
versus
just
us not
for.
being together.
Yep.
That's the thing.
Yep.
So I just
Yep.
feel like I feel like really just communication is really actually key, and you can make your household how you want to make your household,
Mhm.
and everybody should be able to work on one accord. Like if your man coming to me needing to drop the kids off, or my woman need to go to your man, and we all working together for the sake of the kids, then that's just what it needs to be.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But women be in their ear, men be weak. Listen to the woman that's coming in for somebody that I dealt with for 10 years, and this
Mhm.
is our child, and you want to come in changing the dynamics. It just
There it
be
is.
very territorial,
Yeah.
if
Absolutely.
you ask me.
And
Absolutely.
and emotional intelligence is not there though when it comes to certain dynamics, because I really strongly feel like that's one of the issues I'm dealing with here. Not just that you're not healed, but like he has no emotional intelligence to like understand, like it's not about you, it's about these kids.
Mhm.
It don't matter if me and you ain't together, we still should be able to come together for these kids.
Mhm.
And so when we do come together for the kids, it's like because something going on, you know? So yeah. And then on top of that, I'm dating,
Yeah.
you know? So it's like, okay, now I gotta explain to him, like, look, just let me talk to you about what's going on over here.
Absolutely. And
You know?
I agree. Like
So
the emotional intelligence, but the healing do have to come with
yeah,
that, because some people will hold over your head what you were to them.
yeah.
And because they don't want to take the time frame to learn the growth in you,
Mhm.
it staggers the co-parenting relationship, because it's like, well, you were this when you were with me, how can you be this now? And it's
Yeah.
like, well, baby, time with growth, with experiences, with life. And so
Mhm.
when they don't see that growth in you, or they are not maturely growing at the same rate or level that you are, co-parenting makes it extremely hard.
Yeah.
Which brings in a dynamic of, like she's saying, and this is no shots fired, but like guys tend to move on quicker than women,
That's
right?
true.
So then when the woman do come into the picture, they have the dynamic of, well, you wasn't clearly the one. I'm the one.
Oh.
Now they coming in automatically beating their chest. And like you said, they come in the household and they want to change the dynamic of things.
Mhm.
And if you don't have a person that's like, look, this is the mom, I'm the dad, this ain't gonna happen like that. Nobody ain't gotta beat their chest. I'm here with you.
Mhm.
I'm secure with you. Then
Mhm.
we don't have to have those kind of issues in the co-parenting realm.
Right.
But unfortunately, because people come into relationships and they have to make it known that I am here, I'm the one, you don't think about the kids, you think about you and your relationship. And then it makes it hard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like when I get somebody, let's just respect the fact that we all on one level. I don't need you to beat your chest hard. What you do for my son in our household is our household.
Yeah.
What's going but I'm learning that you can't heal anyone, but you can definitely push through that. Like she said, sometimes you just gotta force it.
Yeah.
And I get frustrated. I'm human, sometimes I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not having this kind of conversation with you 20, 10, 20, 20, 20, 20. Like we talked about this, but then
Right.
I had to understand, like, at the end of the day, my son is my son. That's your son.
Mm-hmm.
We sitting here together, and we gotta get an even playing field, because kids they do piggyback off of emotions of parents.
They do.
If they know y'all beefing, baby, they gonna run with that.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the kind of things that I always want to avoid. So I'm very much so, like, when dynamics happen in my world, I try to not have adult conversations with my son, but I definitely got to get to the round table with him.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about it. Because imagine a child that's trying to learn who they are. Every day they going to school, they trying to make their own identity. They trying to learn their friends. They having fake beef in the
Yeah.
playground. They're young.
Mm-hmm.
They can't barely fathom emotions. They're still
Right.
learning how to. Now we're adults.
Mm-hmm.
And baby, we ain't that mentally
we still
sane either, trying to
struggling
do the same thing.
Yep.
So
We still
I
struggling.
say, like, me and him, we talk. I have to, because I'm like, I know you struggling, because today mommy having one of those kind of days. I'm struggling. I don't know how to guide myself through this situation.
Yeah.
So I give him grace, and I sit him down at the table, and I'm like, let's talk about how these changes are making you feel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I want the truth, even when it comes to being about me.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the only way that I'm going to learn how to parent. And that, it's nothing wrong with me saying sorry.
Right.
Like, I apologize. Did something that hurt your feelings. Now, I still mean what I'm saying, but maybe my delivery can be a little bit different. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But then there's this crazy world of wanting to find love.
Right.
And so I'm like, I'm trying to learn how to help my son balance his emotions. I'm trying to learn how to heal and be, I would say, more attentive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the word that really stuck out to me with relationships moving forward, and I was like, I just can't deal with nothing else but consistency.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing is, like, you tell somebody that and they like, well, what does that mean for you? I want you to go directly to the dictionary
And do exactly that.
because it's straightforward.
Yeah.
Anything
Ain't
you
no
start,
gray
keep
area.
it.
Yep. Don't
I
introduce me
started-
to a vibe you can't maintain.
Yes.
What I started doing is bringing other people. It first started with his father, because we had the same conversations behind each other back,
Yeah.
and he know how I am to respond to things.
Mm.
I'll call his dad on through it. Like, this boy done said X, Y, and Z,
Mm.
and so now that he know we on the same accord, he going about his way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He like to pick and choose with information, and she'll tell you when my son be on the phone, be like, because you gotta, to me, I feel like you gotta give your kids different adults that you trust
Mhm.
to have other conversations with them.
Right.
Because I always told mine, if you can't listen or whatever, or how I respond, then I'm gonna pass you on to whoever. Because maybe they talking at a level which you can understand. Because I done had this conversation with you like 50 million times. I'm ready to slap you right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you wearing my patience short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will pass them off, and then they will receive the same thing that I already been telling you, but maybe her voice is softer, maybe her
Mhm.
whatever, and that's what's wrong with our kids. Like, I always say that, whatever happens in this household stays in this household, yeah, to a certain extent,
Mm-hmm.
but you do got to give your kids that leeway to go to other adults if they need to, or
Facts.
implement them in a like, listen, look what this boy done said. Tell her what you just said.
Mhm.
You don't even want to repeat it. You done messed up. You trying to play with me. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying?
You don't even wanna
So
repeat.
people need to be. It takes a village to raise a child,
It absolutely
Yeah.
and that's
does.
what we got to raise for. Because we don't want to be judged and all this other. Can't nobody judge you. Can't nobody tell you nothing. Even if she know all of my band-aids is off and we fall out tomorrow, she can't do nothing that's gonna hurt my feelings. Because
Baby,
I already lived
I
in
did
my
it already.
truth.
I did it already.
So
That part.
whatever you doing is not gonna harm me. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. That's something that's going on with you that you feel that you need to do that. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So it's just
Yeah.
kind of like we got to be out of our minds and stop thinking that people are judging us. And even if they are judging us,
So be
what?
it.
So
So
what?
be
Like,
it.
who cares?
Judge-
Like, this was
judge
for the
your money.
moment for our kids.
Yeah.
Right.
I say that all the time. I'm like,
I
you
agree.
can't put this horse down. I am the horse.
Right.
Anything that is said in the streets, I delivered it. You
Yeah.
can't get it from nobody but the source. So I 100% agree with you
Mhm.
on that. Like, I don't care about the judgment. I'm human.
Yeah.
Every day I'm learning. Every day I'm gonna take a step into life. Every day you gonna learn something. Like, you know, the biggest thing I guess life has taught me is that everybody everybody is going through something, from the
Yeah.
richest of the rich to the poorest of the poor. And I
Yep.
think, matter of fact, the poor people are probably more happy than us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's no real responsibilities. They just living carefree. They don't care. You can see them. Look, I look like this. You know, I look like this. I know I look like this. But then we always try to put on this persona, or this, this face.
Mhm.
I'm perfect. I'm good. I'm that. No, baby, I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm a woman. I'm learning.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I can't say that I ever really experienced genuine love, because I really, the biggest thing I analyze with love, right, is like, in your 20s, let's just not even play that game.
Mhm.
We don't know what love is in our 20s. We are
Wait,
literally.
but why not?
Well, I don't get me wrong. We know I know what it feels like,
Okay.
but I don't know me in my 20s. You know what I'm saying? Who am I? I'm not the same woman that I was in my 20s.
And we don't know what we really want out of life.
We learning.
so
So
you saying you don't know who you are?
no, I'm saying, like, in my 20s, I didn't really know who I was to say that this, like, if I could look at a relationship now as compared to where I am today, like back then, I'd be like, that was puppy love. You know what I'm saying? I lusted over that situation. How many stupid decisions have you made in a relationship over a man or a woman that you dealt with in our younger ages, because we were so passionate
Yeah.
But
about
is it
the
fair to
people?
say that,
What we
right?
wanted, what
To-
we didn't have.
Right.
Is it fair
Yeah.
to say that? So, like, our first love is our mom and our dad, right?
Right.
Or the first man. I'm gonna say man, because just because somebody had us doesn't make them our mother. You gotta raise us to be a
Right.
mom, right? So
Right.
the man or a woman that raised us, that's our first love, right?
Mhm.
They loved us properly, so
Yeah.
we know what it feels right,
Mhm.
right? So, is it fair to say, like, okay, I loved him or her so much in our 20s because they showed me the proper love that I was introduced with, versus my 30s, because we're going to grow. It's for us to grow. We
Right.
cannot stay in our 20s,
Mhm.
but we just have different requirements, different expectations. Our morals and our values kind of
change.
switch.
Right.
So is it fair to say that to yourself? Because people be beating themselves up, and it's kind of like, do you
Don't beat
really be
yourself up.
like, do you really
So,
need to say that?
For me, I don't. Yes, I say this, and then here's why, right? Because I look back and I was like, the things that I went through in relationships, was that really love? Or was I just really trying to survive on it? You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, I attached myself to this person because you wanted me just as much as I wanted you. But there were so many things, values, everything that I let, like, women will literally let themselves go for a relationship.
Oh, see,
Okay.
that's
Well, I'll tell you, I trauma bonded.
Yeah.
That's
And
what
I'm like,
happened
you
with
could
me
do
and my
that.
kid's father.
Yes.
We
Oh.
totally trauma bonded, and I didn't understand that then.
Mhm.
I know now,
I know now.
but
yeah.
I'm almost 40 now.
Yeah, there it
It
is.
took a lot for me to know what even drove me to this man.
Yes. So I don't say, like, don't be discouraged on it in those
Yeah.
time frames, but literally, people get married in their 20s, and this is actually like stats. You know,
Mhm.
they're doing research where they're like, they dang near divorced by 30,
Yeah.
because one person either grew faster, one person didn't grow at all, or they grew and they realized that nothing that we have is in common.
Or what about them being jealous about your growth?
And
They
it's
want to slow down
possible.
your growth. And
Yes.
that's what happened to me.
Mhm.
It was like, oh, you doing this? I'm about to do it too.
Yes.
Oh, I'm about to do you one more.
But
And
you
when
can't
I-
survive.
You can't. And when I started realizing, I'm like young, and I'm like, what's going on here? Why is every time I do something here, and at first I'm like, maybe I'm just inspiring you. So go ahead, do you. You know, keep going. Until it started to hurt me
Mhm.
in my progress.
Mhm.
Then it started to make me think, like, am I where I'm supposed to be?
Who am I?
Right.
Mhm.
Who am I? I thought I knew who I was. Well, I knew who 20-something-year-old Kendra was,
Right.
but who is 30-something-year-old? You know what I'm saying? Kendra,
Mhm.
like, who is this? Because now I'm different. I
Yeah.
want new things out of life, and you don't want those things for me.
Mhm.
So why not?
Right.
You know, what's going on right now? Now I got kids with you, and I'm just taking it a day at a time.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's all we can do.
yeah, just
But
taking
that's-
it the best you can.
So just to pick, like, your question, yes, I do feel like in my 20s I was lost. I do feel like I lost myself in relationships. And I do feel now at 37, big 37 Taurus season, shout out. Okay.
Yeah,
I
you just had a birthday.
yeah.
Happy birthday.
But like, I woke up on my birthday and I was like, where do I want to see myself in this year?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In this 37, not 37 years, this 37.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want love. Like I really do. Like I really feel like that it's meant for me to have that. And this ain't no begging season because baby, you can lay down with anybody. You can shack with everybody.
For sure.
Yeah.
Anybody can be in a relationship.
Yeah.
I'm genuine on the building of the foundation. I need something solid.
I'm
So
sorry.
when I looked into that, I had to really write things out, right? And I was like, in my 20s, there was no foundation. There was no solidness in relationships. I literally loved you because you probably was my first, or I literally loved you because you put up with me and I put up with you. But then I put up with the abuse. I put up with the disrespect. I put up with the cheating. I put up with just allowing you to be you, right? Finding you. I lost me. Baby, in at 37, I'm not chasing that no more.
Yeah.
So when it comes to those dynamics, it's like, I say though, my relationships, anything before now, like I'll probably say within the last year, like 2 years, I was dealing with this guy. We were not serious, but he allowed me to be me. There was no competition. You know what I'm saying? But we both were trying to figure out, like, come from a hurtful relationship. Like men hold on to women that hurt them. Baby, they could be 10 and they mama can lead them on the doorstep, and 10 years later, 30 years later, they still gonna feel a certain kind of way about a woman. They gonna be like, oh, if you go sit on that step, you leaving me. They're traumatized from that. But then you think about what we endure as women from men. Not all women go through it, but I can sit here and say I'm real about that. I went through it. And so when I got with him, I was like, this is different. Now, I thought I was spiraling over my son dad when we first broke up. I'm like, this is hurtful.
Yeah.
And I had to wake up and was like, baby, you only want the family dynamic. You never were happy. There go that being married, but you really ain't happy behind closed doors. Now, we wasn't married, but I really was not happy in that relationship. I genuinely was trying to figure it out. But because I had a child involved, I'm like, now I gotta go against the grain. I gotta fight for this dynamic no matter what, because the people watching. You know what I'm saying? We didn't already introduce this dynamic to the world. But I say that the happiest I have been is when I realized that no matter who watching, I got to do what's best for me.
For sure.
Stepping away
All the
from that
time.
relationship was like, that's what's best for me.
Same for me.
And I ran into this guy and I'm like, this is genuine. We had our ups and downs, you know, but I was like, man, this is what being in love feel like. Okay, now it don't hurt because now I don't see nothing as mine. You're not my possession. People are going to come and go, and I just have to allow that flow in life. And I'm so at peace with that. Like, if I wasn't for you then, I was blessed to bless you in that season. I'm proud of it. I gave you something, and I got something out of it, whether it was a lesson, whether it was a blessing, whether it was learning. Like, no matter what, I'm okay with what life swings to me. And that was the biggest challenge that I had to face. And so that's why I was like, in 37, I won't love. You know what I'm saying? But this time I want it the right way. And I also have to understand there was a lot of things that I never saw in households. Like, my mom was married to my dad 20 plus years, but a lot of like affection, kissing, holding hands, like we didn't see a lot of that, but we knew they loved each other. You know, it wasn't a lot of arguing and fighting either. We knew they loved each other, but I'm affectionate. And now I'm like, how do you be affectionate? You know, you want to hug but it feels so weird. And then you got guys that's like, yeah, and I'm like, I asked for a kiss. Like, what we talking about?
Right.
So it's just that, like, really trying to open up and find yourself. And I hate that I'm at 37 finding it, but baby, I'm chasing her. You hear what I'm saying? Because I missed so many great years. Definitely learned a lot. But I missed so many great years of being me. So shout out to the last guy I was talking to, because he really showed me what being in love and butterflies feel like. Now I'm like, so people like, well, y'all didn't make it. And that kind of was like a heartbreak for you. And I'm like, baby, a little piece of the heart was gone, but I'm sliding into the next base where we at.
But I'm okay.
I'm shooting shots, baby. Jordan didn't quit the Bulls when he didn't make the game shot. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Sign me up, coach, because I'm on the team. Any shots that you miss is because you didn't take it, baby. I'm taking them. Life is short. I'm taking them.
And it's that's another thing. It's like, we're not saying that they're bad men.
Yeah.
We're not saying that they ain't good for some other woman. They just weren't ours. And that's another thing is like, you just were never mine.
Yeah.
You were here for a season, just like somebody else can be here for a season.
Yes.
You made me Kenda. You contributed to me being me. I wouldn't know what I wanted today if it wasn't for that experience with you. It would be a completely different scenario.
Absolutely.
So like, I've come to appreciate those hard times.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm a little bit more well-rounded when it comes to what that should look like for me. It's still a tough thing, you know, because men have their trauma and then we have ours. That's why I said, I feel like now when I'm thinking in hindsight, like, it was a trauma bond. It was, he had his mom, and his mom was married to his stepdad, but he never had a relationship with his dad. So we had a similar dynamic where he lived in the house with his mom, his two sisters, and his stepdad. And then it was me with my mom, my stepdad, and my two siblings. So we literally had similar experiences. And so that's kind of how we initially connected, just talking about the way we were raised, how we came up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's a good guy.
Yes.
You know, and I still think you know, you a good person. If you ever watched this,
shout out to the good person.
You're a good person.
Yeah.
You just were never mine, and that is okay. Like, we had our time.
Absolutely.
But it's like, okay, now how is this impacting my kids?
Yes, that's all. That's the common denominator.
Because now they want to know, okay, mom, you and dad didn't work out. Okay, so what does it look like for me when I'm dating? Like, what does that look like? And you trying to teach your kids like how to date, because now my kids are date age. Like, and my daughter, she's like, mama, this boy, or he did this. What do you think? And I love that she asked me for advice.
Absolutely.
Like that, I'm doing something right if she could come to me and talk to me.
Because I used to hide under the rock with my mama.
Like, and I know she don't tell me everything.
Yeah.
But when she does decide to come and talk to me, is always have to tell her, like, remember, it's your decision. These are your choices.
Absolutely.
Like, always put yourself first.
Absolutely.
Because we tend to put those emotions for a man first. And we find ourselves trying not to hurt him, but we hurting.
Yeah.
Trying not to hurt him. We still hurting. He hurting
Baby
us.
sliding down the wall, ripping off my cotton shirt. Like, what happened here?
Yeah. Giving him the last bite of our food, all that. And it's like, what's happening to you over there? Like, what's going on? So we got some comments. JJ, some family members be envy of you for their own reasons. I agree. He said, Savannah, you look sleepy from working so much.
Don't talk to me.
Then he said, the only reason why I like this conversation, because y'all uplifting each other, but you are not putting down the man. Amen. We ain't never gonna put the man down. We just gonna speak our truth.
There it is.
Marvin says, great conversation, ladies. Thank you so much for tapping in, Marvin. We appreciate that.
Yes.
This is deep. This is really, really deep. And I feel like this was a really good conversation for us to have, because I don't really hear these type of talks.
You don't.
No,
you don't.
Nobody talks about it that much.
Because the problem is, I think that it's not discussed because it does, from the unhealed perspective of people, will come off like you're bashing or, you know, you're disrespecting or you're not telling your truths. And it's like, my truths, everybody got a story.
Yep.
There's not two sides to a story, and then there's the truth. There's your story, there's my story. Because there's going to have some truths, and then it's not. You know what I'm saying? My truth is not going to please your truth. It's not going to please your truth. So I think that's why it's such a disgrace, or some people like walk on eggshells. I did for a long time. Like, I heard I was being bashed by guys that I used to talk to or deal with, you know what I'm saying? And at first I'm like, I'm telling my story.
Yeah.
That's why you keep those receipts. That I always say it's 3 sides. It's his side, your side, and once the receipts. That's why people never. I'd be so quick. Had that person in the same room. But before I even got like this, I used to always try to right there. Because I want you to tell me the exact same thing you told this person while I'm right here. I bet you won't.
Baby, that's you know, that's like playing, you know, telephone.
I live for that. I promise you, I live for that. The only thing that I say my last relationship taught me, I'm not bitter. I'm not nothing. I'm healed. I wish that brother all the best of luck.
Yeah.
But when you see red flags, do not ignore them. When you see
Ooh.
red flags, do not
Yes.
ignore them. I thought I could love him past the trauma that he already was walking into me
Ooh,
with.
baby.
And then when you see somebody lying to they day ones before you, lying to their parents, it ain't. I thought I was like, he ain't gonna never do that to me. I'm me.
Ooh,
No,
that's
it's
that.
when
That's
it's going to become you. What's gonna change in
Yep.
his life is when he's gonna start lying to you.
Absolutely.
Because I seen everything, and I'm just like, I seen it all.
Yeah.
It was all being noted. I'm just like, this.
Mhm.
She said, but he
Absolutely.
would never do
It
that
was
to
coming.
me.
It was coming full circle. It was coming full circle for everything, and then everything just was like boop.
Yeah.
And so what I started doing is, because when you such a good person, his whole circle just started opening up. I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
so I had my book. Oh, what about this?
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh.
Dig deep.
But I never played the cards. It was time to play the cards. So my whole thing is like, I say now that I will superstar date.
Mm.
So if I'm with you, we together, we kicking it, we doing whatever. You do some things I can deal with. Cool. I'm not gonna say I'm just, but you show me some red flags that I'm just like life decision lying making. I'm
Absolutely.
cool, bro. Like we
Absolutely.
good. I see you in the streets. Like I'm good on you.
Yeah.
Like I will be
You ain't
dating
wrong.
every 6 months with whoever, because I'm never giving nobody a year, 2, 5 years of my time to be like,
Absolutely.
oh, he's gonna change. You know, fuck that. Once that person take off that mask and show you who he truly
Because
is,
the representative
that's
come
who he
first.
truly is. When he get
Mhm.
mad and he call you a bitch, believe it.
Yeah.
It's more behind that.
Yeah.
When that nigga get mad, he started lying. Oh, it's more behind that.
It's
When that nigga is
absolutely.
mad, he's lying to. It's more behind that.
Yep.
Like it's not gonna change. He's already showing you characteristics. Please
Mhm.
believe that it's not gonna change. And I
Yeah.
don't want nobody like that. When that nigga is lying to his kids about you and you hearing,
It's a
no,
problem.
that's not changing.
It's a
There's
problem.
nothing that can excuse you from this behavior.
No, not at
Yeah.
all.
And that's why I said, like, some
And it's
people
just kind of
hold it.
like, okay, oh, I'm
Mhm.
forgiven.
Yep.
Bullshit.
That's why I said they hold on.
I should have left 3 years ago.
Baby, I should have left you yesterday.
You know what I'm
With
saying?
the day after.
So
Yeah,
I take
yeah.
responsibility and accountability, because I knew I should have left. I was envisioning like on the bed, like I'm packing up my clothes, but I was there. But I promise I won't leave. Bullshit. Sometimes them promises got to be chopped.
Yeah.
So I just feel like when somebody show you who they are,
Believe them.
that's who they, no matter how
Absolutely.
begging they doing, none of that. Like, you're not finna drag me down that rabbit hole, because I ain't gonna say I lost myself. Like, he slowed my process down.
Absolutely.
Him and his whole situations slowed my process down. But I'm okay, because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't met a lot of great people. I
Absolutely.
wouldn't be doing a lot of great shit.
Absolutely.
Because once that hot stove got to happening,
Yeah.
a lot of cold shit started happening.
Yeah.
So I was being blessed. It was like it was going back and forth. It was crazy, but I'm like, I'm cool with it. And I learned
Absolutely.
what a lot of scriptures mean, like weapons were formed against me should not
Should not
prosper.
Oh yes.
Like, they was doing everything to destroy me, but it was nothing happening.
Absolutely.
So you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, no harm, foul. I see, I might do one of these.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, I don't feel like you should waste your time with nobody if they're not on your level at that time. Shit happens.
Yeah.
Views change. I may thought I wanted the baby with you. I don't now. I thought I was head over heels with you.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's
Yeah.
7 months. You leaving your drawers on the floor. I just cannot deal with it. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's to the extreme. I gotta leave this relationship.
I said.
So I just feel like my advice would be, like, if somebody is really crunching your skin and heartbreaking and stabbing, and that first cry come, it's time to leave.
Baby, listen.
Like, I'm not crying again.
No, I said that. That's why I'm
Girl,
like,
it's a
I
wrap.
like that what you said was superstar dating. It's like I used to be I'm putting all my eggs in one basket when I'm talking to you, because I'm very loyal.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm rocking with you, baby, we going to the moon. Where we going? Oh,
Yeah.
you want to go? But then I had to, and my loyalty has not changed, but my dynamic of how I give it out
Yep.
definitely has.
Yeah.
So if I'm here with you and you here with me, baby, I'm gone. Because at the end of the day, it's like I can't keep going through the same motions. I
A
can't
man is
heal
going to
you.
show you who he wants to show you
yeah.
in his life. The
Yes.
space, you don't got to ask for that, and I promise you that is
Mhm.
so true.
It
Yeah.
is. It's 100% true. Like, I think so. Like, one of the biggest things is, like you said, like, if it's a small thing, let it go. Everybody is not for you.
Yeah.
And that's okay, right? I hold no hatred, no harm. Like, I love you. I loved you. I was in love with you, or I wasn't in love with you. You was puppy love, but everything showed me a stage. My granny always told me, and my grandma always told me, like, when you fed up, baby, you stop talking.
For sure.
You don't. You're not gonna just keep calling. I don't call my friends. Oh, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Because it's the same record. No, you be done. You just completely stop. So I was like, this time around with the dating thing, it's like I'm no one's possession. If
That
you
part.
don't step to me and you tell me that you're ready for what I have to offer, and you want to make sure that I'm ready for you, what you have to offer, I'm not just entertaining you. And that does not mean I'm sleeping with multiple people. But baby, if you took me out on Monday and Friday you see me with Jake, understand that I am trying to find my path just like you trying to find your path, whether it's with me or Sarah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Not
let's
Sarah.
stop. Yeah, because let's stop sugarcoating it. Like,
Yeah.
everybody want to act like this is not what courting and dating is.
That's what it looks like.
I sit on my couch majority of my days. Baby, even Amazon now don't even let you know they at the door. I'm not gonna find my husband like that. He's not gonna find me. They don't even ring the doorbell no more. They literally take a picture and boom, it's there. I'm like, oh, he delivered. Baby, I was just on my way downstairs. Like,
Yeah.
what it was, you could. But so it's just like, stop fantasizing where, oh, you're not a good woman, or you're not a good individual, or you're not a good person because of how you date.
Right.
Stop fantasizing that. Like,
I was gonna say too, like, bye, honey. So Savannah is gone, y'all. So it's just me and oh, okay. Okay, Mona said, "Come on, ladies.
yeah.
Hey, love. Thank you for tapping in." Yes. So I feel like another common thing that people do is introducing their kid
Out the
to
gate.
the people that they dating.
Out the gate.
Hold on, like,
Yeah.
how long do you wait
Yeah.
to introduce your kid to someone that you are dating? Like, when do you know that's okay to do? Because I be seeing some horror stories.
That's true.
There was this story that came across my feed, and the guy said, "Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm dating this woman. She has a child. I know the child. I get along with the child. We do things all together. But she started asking me to do things like picking her son up from school." And he's like, "But I'm not that child's father, and that child's father is involved in this kid's life. So am I wrong for not wanting to pick this kid up from school because I'm not that kid's dad? We're dating. I have a respect for her. I love her. I accepted the child as, that this is her child. But I had not accepted the child as in I'm going to be doing things for the child." I'm curious to know what people think about that, because that was a tough one. When I first started dating, I was like, "Now, how does this work? I'm dating him,
Yeah.
but my kids have their dad.
Yeah.
Their dad is involved. I don't need him to do daddy things, because when I need daddy things done, he's doing it." Like, how do you break that down? Like, I'm curious to know, like, what people think about that. How are you breaking that down when you are involved with another person after you separate from your child's other parent?
Yeah.
What expectations are you guys having during the dating stage with this person, with your child? I've seen some horror stories. I've seen things where kids are left with this person and they left them unattended, and they come back and their child ain't what they were supposed to be. Absolutely. They ain't healthy. They not right.
Yeah.
I've seen other scenarios where the person is okay with doing stuff for the kid. But the question is, where is the line because we're not married. We don't even know if we're getting married. Y'all might not even live under the same roof, but my kid knows you, and there is a respect there. That's cool. But is it okay that I'm asking you to do things for my kid? Is it okay that they're asking you to do things for their kid? Like, it's some lines there that get blurred, where people are struggling with what that's supposed to look like.
So me, I'm very big, which I've always lacked at one point in time, is boundaries, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I say this: every dynamic is going to work different for each household.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know your person to know what's going to work in your household, right? If we're dating, that's literally getting to know someone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I just started being okay with my son being around someone that I'm talking to and like a play date. So if you have a
Okay.
child, I have a child, we can meet up and have a play date, right? But I need to know you first. Like I
Mhm.
need to talk to you and be around you in one way, shape, or form. But if we're under the same roof, so people got to understand dating is literally that. I'm getting to know you.
Yeah.
Now, if I move you in, our household is just that. It ain't about marriage. We're running a household together. If you're
Mhm.
paying bills with me, if you're laying with me, sleeping with me, if we're going on dates and stuff, I expect you to have the the dynamic in your mind to treat your relationship as if this is your child in this household too. Because like she said earlier, I'm not going to treat your kids any different than mine. My
Mhm.
biggest rule in my house, and I only got one child: if there's not enough for everyone, there's not enough for you.
Mhm.
I'm not going to ever separate the two.
Yeah.
So if me and you are in a position where we're rocking like that, you should be able to pick up the phone and call me and say, hey, can you grab such and such from school? Sure, no problem. Or can you run such and such to, their haircut appointment or something? I'm running a little late. Cool, because 9 times out of 10, this probably the weekend that we got your kids there or whatever, something
Mhm.
like that. Now I say under the roof with
Mhm.
each other. Now, if I'm just talking to somebody or dating somebody, I don't expect you, even if his dad is doing whatever, I
Mhm.
don't expect you to be the dad to him. But once we combine households, once we combine each other, once you around my child
Mhm.
all day, every day, and my child is around you, we whether we're married or not, we are a dynamic of a
We're a
family under
unit.
this roof.
We're some
So
type of unit.
there it is. So
Yeah.
okay, you buy something for your kids, you gonna buy something for mine too. People want to pick and choose what they want somebody to do.
Mhm.
I don't want you to be the dad in this person in my child's life, but I want you to buy stuff for him. I
Mhm.
want you to uh accept my child.
Yeah.
And that's not fair, because even as a mom, I would be a stepmom if someone came into my life and had kids, and it's like I can give the dad the world, but I can't accept the kids as my own. That's that healing process.
Mhm.
Now, there is a respectful way to do it. And when you do have like the mom or dad on the opposite end that may not accept your relationship with that person, now, okay, I get that. You're gonna struggle through that a little bit.
Yeah.
So when I first went through that dynamic and my son dad moved on, it was for me like, introduce me.
Mhm.
That's all I care about. I just want to know who this person is that's around my child, because I do now see you as a two-parent household.
Yeah.
So dynamics may change where, what if it's an emergency, you can't pick him up?
Then you got to reach out to her.
And that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what if I need her to get, because okay, it's not my time frame for him to be home with me, but I didn't know your emergency was gonna pop up. I need to know who I'm trusting my child with.
Right.
It's
Right.
safety hazards that we should
That's
have to
true.
go through. We should be mature enough to be able to say, this is such and such, this is my son's mom, and we blend that in. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So with those dynamics, I just look at it like, you have to be mature for those matters. Everybody's I, the biggest thing I don't want to take into my next relationship is social media.
Mm.
You could see so many different discussions. Yes, take those questions out of that discussion and definitely talk about it.
Mhm.
Have that discussion with your significant other. See how they mind frame is, what they think about, how would they look at a family dynamic. But for me to be like, oh, I'm not doing 50-50. I'm not making my man a sandwich at 3 a.m. I'm not doing, like, we gotta stop. Social
Yeah.
media cannot determine how the dynamic of the household is going to work.
I
And I think a
agree.
lot of people are doing that. That's why that scenario is up there. He may not feel comfortable, but I say with that guy, if him and her end up laying together for the next 5 years, then it starts to become some of his responsibility, even if the dad is involved.
Mhm.
Because if you got 1 week on and 1 week off, during that week, you are his dad under these terms and conditions.
Or you're at least a guardian. Some
Yeah,
type of
you have that title.
you're a
You're a
parental
parent figure.
figure.
Yeah, you're a parent
Yeah.
figure.
Like you ain't gotta call him dad or nothing.
Yeah.
No, like that's
And whatever
not.
makes the kid
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah.
We got to stop putting that kind of dynamic on kids too, because some kids venture and take to people and they're comfortable enough to be, you're my mom, or can I call you mom? And then that's a conversation that as all adults y'all need to have. So
Yeah.
we got to stop putting caps, you know what I'm saying,
Mhm.
on the dynamic of family, what it should look like, what it should feel like. Because when you do, that's how, when they walk down the aisle and they get married and then the step kids never took to the dad,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? Like you said, like we ended up mending our relationship because you were so capped.
Yeah.
Your vision was blocked. Who is he?
Mhm.
Why is he here? So when we put our children in that position to be like, that's not your dad. Don't ask him for nothing. He's not your dad. Don't ask your dad. He's not your dad. Now he's going to grow up with, or she's going to grow up with that mentality. And then there's no respect there. So let's say you get married and y'all
Yeah.
married for the next 20 years. Men don't want no woman with kids that don't respect
That
them.
don't respect them.
They
I
don't
agree.
want you if you can't respect them. So
Exactly.
you want me to be disrespected by you and your kids, and
Yeah,
I'm taking
hell
care of the
no.
household. Kick rocks, oh. You know what I'm saying? Get out of here with
Yep.
that. So it's
Yep.
just like, stop that. Like, do what's best for your household. Go with the flow. Get to know somebody for sure.
Yeah.
But also stop looking at it as, well, that's not his dad. He has a dad. Like, I see that status all the time too. Like, women be like, I don't need a dad for my kids. I need a zaddy. No, baby. Because if you coming up
'Cause
in this
what's a
household and
zaddy?
paying,
That's a completely different conversation.
you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, yeah.
Because they're only focused on what financially they need to be taken
Yes,
care of. They're
yeah.
not
Yes.
worried about the overall arc of what that looks like. Because if you're looking for a financial helpmate,
Mhm.
you're now setting the dynamics that the child feels like
That's it.
that's all that, as the boy, that's all we're supposed to be.
Yep.
Which is why you got so many men now who lead with
Money.
their pockets
Yep.
Yeah.
because they were never shown what the other aspect, the intangibles, are supposed to be about in
Mhm.
regards to it. They only see that, and then you get other girls. Then if you have daughters and you see that mommy, which I still hate that there's so many girls out here with this old saying, as long as you got a pussy, you should never be broke.
Whoa.
That's horrible. Yeah.
They
But
do.
that is the mentality
They do.
that
Yep.
got covered, that came up and continued on. That
Yeah.
now there's so many out here who don't know what the emotional attachments or how important that emotional availability is
Yep.
when it comes to developing a relationship.
Absolutely.
They only care about what you can do for me in real time, and
That's
then once
true.
that is no longer satisfied,
Mhm.
they'll just go on to the next in
Yep.
regards to that.
Yeah. And I think that's
What's
why
going
there's-
on, everybody?
Yo,
I just
welcome,
sat
Tone.
down. I just sat
Tone
down.
is- Tone is in the building.
It was a chair. I was tired, so I sat down.
I'm gonna look at the comments. We got Mona saying age matters for sure. She says yes, mature respectfully, a supportive family figure. Yep,
Mhm.
yep. Raw, uncut facts. Zaddy, what? That's what I
Yeah.
said. Zaddy, who?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
this new generation.
Yeah, that's
you know?
that new
That's that new
generation. Like,
generation.
Yeah.
I want to see, I would love to see love brought back into the world,
Oh my god.
in the
it's-
household.
Yeah.
It's getting there.
And it's slowly but
It's
surely.
slowly getting there.
Yeah.
Just like it didn't leave as easily as we think it is. We
Right.
just happen to be one of the first generations that
To see it.
started living in single parent households for multiple reasons. So
Mhm.
we know that there's a lot of parents out there that was guarded, so they didn't know how to show it. Like one of the big things when you guys were talking earlier, I was working on some stuff, so I didn't chime in. But a lot of times parents didn't know how to emotionally show love.
That's what I said.
And a lot of
Mhm.
us tend to kind of punish our parents because of that.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
You know, oh mom, you never told me you loved you, but you had a roof over your home. You got whatever you needed. I
Right.
provided. They showed love through monetary values. And
Absolutely.
then,
'Cause that's all they knew.
Yep.
and I'm not knocking single moms because I'll never do that because I was raised by one for the first half of my life. They bought you everything you needed. So they kind of replace what they would have done for your dad to you.
Yes.
There's so many men raised by women this day and age who don't know how to love on a woman because they didn't have that male representation of what
To show
the
it.
looked
male's
like.
example of love supposed to. And then
Absolutely.
the women's representation was, you're going to be my surrogate boyfriend.
Mhm.
I'm going to take care of you the way I want to be loved. But if I pour into you, unlike every other man in my life, you can't leave me because
Mhm.
I'm your parent.
Mhm.
So there comes this attachment issue that is created. Unfortunately, that tends to proverbially create fuck niggas.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
You know,
Ooh,
like
talk
you
about it.
get these
The worst
entitled,
kind of niggas.
you get these entitled men. Everybody's talking about why are so many men sassy this day and age. Well, they were not raised by a masculine figure.
Absolutely.
They were not told or taught you can enjoy these things, but as a man, there's a certain characteristics of you that needs to be exhibited.
Yes.
Mhm.
Like, you're not going to always find a woman who's going to take care of you. You have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then when you look like you're a stable human being who can survive in everyday life with or without a woman, that woman's automatically going to come.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And then you guys are going to be equally, of course, you're not going to be on the same page. You got to build to that.
There
But
it
then
is.
you're going to get to that point where you're stable, she's stable. There should be no conflicts.
Yeah. So the
So-
next time we're gonna have to have that conversation, like, because that's a big topic right there. And I
Right.
say that a lot with, like, and like I said, I don't bash,
I
but
don't
this is
either.
just me looking on. I'm the woman, so I can only give you my perspective
Yeah.
as a woman.
Yep.
But there are so many, like, men, right, where we're in a, like I said, dating is hard because we're in a place where they don't understand consistency, or they don't know what being emotionally available looks like. They just providers. So when I talk to guys, I'm like, I want a provider, and they're like, oh, hold on, slow down, let me finish my sentence. There it is right there. You don't even want me to
That
talk.
word provider triggers them.
And it do, but I go so much deeper. Like, I need you to provide emotionally, because women are emotional. We're emotional creatures, and
Right.
men don't have that though.
Right.
Like, they have it. Let me say this: they have it. But I was raised in a household where the little boys was told they couldn't even cry if they hurt
I was getting ready
themselves.
to
You
get
know what I'm
there.
saying?
Yep.
So it's a hard dynamic that we're trying to break through, because we want you to be emotionally available for us, but it's hard because you don't know how as a man.
Well, it's a
Mhm.
two-way street in
Mhm.
regards to that.
I agree with
I
that.
agree with you because I'm a huge advocate for mental health.
Mhm.
Like, if you follow me, literally 97% of my posts is that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I'm real big, and I'm more big on Black men accepting the fact that yes, it is okay to cry.
Yes.
Mhm.
Shout out to Ebony Hayes. Make sure you pick up that book for your son. Black Boys It's Okay to Cry. But it's a twofold.
Yeah.
Because today's society, at a young age, little boys are told by their male role models, don't cry, toughen up, be a man. But then today's society is now the women are telling the men, oh, if you show your emotions, if you cry, that's not being a man, you're being soft. I don't want soft.
Mm.
So you'll have and then social media plays a huge factor in the
Mhm.
dating scene,
Mhm.
where all it takes is one negative thought process to become the hot topic on the internet, and then everybody subconsciously starts to adjust what they want and what they see.
Absolutely.
So all it takes is one guy. I'll use Tyrese for a prime example. He got online, he cried about the fact that his kid's mom was keeping his daughter away from him.
Mhm.
Not only did he turn into a meme, but
Yeah.
society labeled him soft
Mm.
for expressing his emotions for something that any real dad in that moment would have felt.
And
Well, let's
should have
not-
been.
and I was
it
gonna
should have
say, let's
been
not say
emotional
dad.
about.
Let's
And the
say,
only
let's
reason why I
not say
say
that. Let's
that-
say any real human being
Being.
that loved their child
And
would have
love their
felt like
child.
that.
I'll
Felt
give you
like
that.
Yep.
Because
Sure.
it's the only reason why I said that's because if a woman or a mother
Did
in
it?
that position, we would
We would
run
have
to her
tapped in.
aid.
Yep.
We would have tapped
We
in.
would run to her aid. We would have been like, well, he shouldn't. Let's go and
Mhm.
let's get the courts. They would have given her all kind of resources, but because
Absolutely.
it's a dad who wants it, who can provide, that's not even an issue.
Yeah.
He just wants time with his kids,
Mhm.
something we scream about.
Mhm.
He's being ridiculed and talked about and beat down, that now anytime we see him, you're considered soft.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you, why would a man want to express his emotion if the places that he's supposed to express it in, he doesn't feel safe to
Right.
begin
He
with?
can't be vulnerable.
He can't be. And I'm not blaming women, because I can only, like you said, I can only speak from a man perspective. There are so many women who have weaponized our vulnerability.
That I can touch
I've
bases
heard about
on.
that.
Okay.
Now, let me say this. I ain't heard about it. I was her at one point in time. And that's why I said being in your 20s is dangerous, trying to be in love, because you're trying to balance your own emotions as a person, right? You're trying to figure out who you are. Now you're trying to love another person.
Mhm.
Okay. And they don't know who they are and they don't know their emotions. And I have been that person that was like, you said something to me and I'm like, I'm mad, I'm heated in the moment, I can't get your attention no other way, I'm daggering it with what you told me. You
Mhm.
understand? Like, but it wasn't until I had to get to a place to realize that I want to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
I want you. Why do I want you to understand me and I can't sit in the same chair and understand you?
Right.
I had to look in the mirror and hold myself accountable. It's not cute.
Right.
You know, I'm like, girl, you're not cute. It's not. And my mom really set me down one day because I'm like, women lead with emotions. Men think logical. They're gonna go logic first, and women gonna come with the emotions. Like, I'm stumping around the house. We just got into an argument. Talk to me. Talk to me. Why won't you talk to me? Talk to me. Talk to me. And they like, here's what used to, and it used to burn me. I'm like, oh, you want that fire? Oh, you want to fight? Here's what I had to grow up and realize. My mom set me down, and she like, you always think with your emotions, Xene. Like, you never sit down and process it. That automatically hit me. Like, so when he quiet, he really just trying to process how we gonna have this
Exactly.
conversation. I had to
Because
learn
we're-
how to give
right,
space,
Yeah.
right?
And let
But let's not go to bed mad with it.
Right.
But baby, take the time, get the words, because I realized that I pushed some men in my life that I was dealing with, you know, to the point of just saying anything, and that hurt me
Mhm.
because all I wanted was you to say something. Just say something. Just talk to me. Well, I didn't like X, Y, and Z. Now, because he mad, I took the delivery all wrong because I'm emotionally tied to the situation.
Right.
Now I'm like, oh, so we on that type of time. So I literally, in my healing process, in my going through trauma and understanding that sometimes our emotions will literally put us in a position to damage ourselves.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And we blame other people, but it's literally us. So I
Yeah.
got in the mirror and I'm like, you got to hold yourself accountable, girl. Like, when that man needed that time and that space to really put his words together, that didn't mean he didn't care.
Yeah.
That just means he needed the time.
Yeah.
He needed to process.
And I'll double back on that for you. It's more that we actually do care.
I know
as
that.
men,
I know.
As men, if we are willing to be quiet
Mhm.
long enough to get our thoughts together, that means we're taking in consideration why you're upset.
Yes.
We're taking in consideration what we did.
Mhm.
We're taking accountability for it, and we're trying to create a resolution. But in order for us to get to that point, we got to see the whole angle of it.
Absolutely.
Because if you're mad at us because of the trash, and we didn't take the trash out when we left out the door when everybody was running 15 minutes late, and you're upset, you're not mad about the trash.
Yeah. You got a whole layers. It's layers to this.
something else.
So let's go
It's
ahead. Let's
definitely
figure out what
layers.
happened in regards to that.
Yeah.
And sometimes we need to sit there and process that. And then on top of that, we need to come and figure out what a resolution. Because if I just come and say, I'm sorry,
It's not what we
it's
want.
not gonna feel. It's
Absolutely.
not what you want.
Absolutely.
You want us to. Okay, first of all, let's figure out why we was late this morning.
Mhm.
Okay, so we got to be able to get this, and this together. So
Yeah.
that way we ain't got to worry about that 15-minute rush anymore.
Mhm.
Okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and let's put the trash by the door. That way we can grab it right away. You know what? Let's even skip that. Let's just take the trash out at night.
Yeah.
You know, like we're
Yeah.
gonna figure out different ways to not necessarily just solve the current problem, but to have an overall resolution in regards to it. And when you're in your emotions in regards to it, and you keep pushing and you keep pushing, we don't give you an answer we're mad. We give you an answer we're trying to avoid giving you.
Yes.
Because as a Sagittarius, I literally have to watch my words.
Yes.
Because I can be very
Blunt. My
Ooh.
son is one. He
Okay.
8.
So when you keep pushing, I will literally say, okay, since you want to know so bad, this is boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom.
Mhm.
And then it's out. We don't care. We don't want to talk about it no more. We want to, okay, we had it, we done.
Yep.
But of course, now this is a new package you need to open up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And now this discussion has escalated to even more.
Mhm.
So I think once men and women understand, like, healthy conversation doesn't mean immediate resolution.
Absolutely.
Healthy conversation is understanding of what the problem was, what needs to be done,
Mhm.
and how can we get there so we don't
Absolutely.
avoid this again.
Mhm.
And like you said, in your 20s, most people don't learn that because they're still
Yeah.
learning how to be themselves.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then we got so many people of our generation who don't even get a chance to be adults because they're immediately being parents.
Yep.
Right.
So that's a whole nother layer of learning on top of learning while still trying to navigate America.
Yeah.
So for
That's
real,
a lot.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Get therapy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Just
Absolutely.
get a therapist. As soon as
Absolutely.
you graduate from high school, get a therapist. Because you're gonna need it, believe me. But I appreciate you for taking accountability though.
No,
Yeah.
it-
Yeah,
it-
that's
and-
important.
Publicly.
That's important.
Listen.
Because as men,
Because in
when a woman
private-
takes accountability,
No,
we be
listen.
like,
No, listen.
she's a keeper.
Because they and then when we had these conversations, like, you know, like I said, I'm trying to navigate dating and I'm talking to guys and I'm like, no, I really be holding myself accountable.
Mhm.
So when they be like, oh, y'all women, whoa,
Don't
because
put me in.
I can't be in that, because I will literally sit down at the round table, even if it's by myself for a second, to process. Now,
Yeah.
I know now how to articulate my emotions. Okay. Don't mean I'm not emotional. I'm a woman. I'm still gonna have those emotions.
Right.
And because I was allowed to have them when I fell off a bike and cried, baby, I got dramatic. You know what I'm saying? My knee, my head, my like I cried.
Baby, you okay,
and they
baby?
and I knew that was what it was gonna give me. So
Yeah.
now I had to learn how to articulate them. So like in the heat of the moment, sometimes I still catch myself like I'm hanging up because it's like, why are you emotional? What did he say? Now, my mom always taught me, come with facts. Men like facts. People like facts. The courts like facts. You win with facts.
Right.
So if I'm coming to him like, you made me feel like a little girl, he don't understand that because it's my feelings. And now he acting like I'm not considering his. But if I sit down and be like, the way you had that conversation with me made me feel like I wasn't being responsible with this situation. Why do you feel like I couldn't handle that situation? Right. Now he has the right to go think about it because I want you to come back with facts on why you felt like I wasn't able to hold whatever it is you told me to do. Right. You know, so it's really about communicating to understand, taking accountability on both ends. It's not just woman man things, and understanding that every day we make choices.
Well, another thing too that I want it to be more understood is I want men to appreciate the emotional side of us as well. Like I feel like we're as women, this is how we are. This is how God made us. So I want that to be appreciated as well. I want it to be like, you're emotional right now, and I get it, babe.
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with that? You're emotional right now, and I get that. So, you know, like I want that to be something that is understood too, because I feel like when we start having these conversations, and yes, I understand there's a way to communicate, there's a way to speak to you, and there's a way for us to come to some type of agreement or solution. Don't make me feel like my emotions are a bad thing, because I should be able to still be emotional with you, and I should be able to communicate with you while I'm emotional. If we need to take a space and say, okay, let's take a break. You are emotional right now. I understand you're emotional right now. I love you. I love you. I love all of you. Let's just take a moment. Let's breathe and let's process this together. There's not enough of that.
Can I tell you why? And then I want you to, okay, I'm gonna because as a woman, I felt like that, right? Like they don't accept it. But here's what I come to understand: an emotional woman is a dangerous woman.
Not all the time, though.
But I'm saying majority of the time we are coming with rage. We are coming a little heated. We are coming a little hyper. We're emotional.
When it's destructive. Yes.
Yeah. But I'm saying even in general, right? Let's say we going through a hard time or a hard day, or let's just say it's surface level hardness. Okay. Let's not say it's a he cheating on me kind of hardness. I had a rough day at work. So you come in, and majority of the time frame, because we're emotional, we're considering what we just went through first. Now I'm coming through the door and I'm like, babe, you ain't gonna believe this day I had. My coworker sat up here and did woo 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 and did. But I'm not even considering what is on his mind as a man right now. You get what I'm saying? So now I'm dumping on him, right? I'm dumping on him and I'm dumping on him. And then I'm like, and then you set up here and you pick me up late at night. Now I'm escalating a little bit because when we get emotional, we run them all. They all hitting the fan. Now he's sitting here trying to process it. And I'm not saying that they are like mentally, challenged or nothing like that, but men process slow. They literally need, because they're problem solvers. Don't ask for a problem solver if that ain't what you want. Because they're problem solvers, they're trying to figure out, how can I make this situation okay at work for her? How can I make the household situation okay? How can I make us okay? And then how can I make me okay?
What gets me is, don't ask me how my day was and I can't tell you.
Okay. Yeah.
Hold on. Wait a minute now.
That's where that's what I'm saying.
I got it.
Then I come out and I'm like, okay, well, since you asked.
Yeah, but sometimes we do verbally puke. We give too much.
Sometimes, yes.
And then when we want them to say like, okay, baby, I know you're emotional. Let's be honest. In that moment, I don't want that. I don't want to hear you say, I know, because that's not solving my problem. That's just acknowledging what I just told you.
But sometimes I do want that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the type of woman that wants that.
In certain moments, and I get it. But again, I don't think you allow him enough time and space to process it, and then you're asking for him to be emotional, which is what he's challenged with anyways.
Mhm.
He can provide. The providing the emotional part of it may be the
Emotional
stagger for him.
support. Emotional
Okay.
support is
And
where we're struggling.
But this is why you got to have those
Right, you gotta
conversations.
have those
These are
conver-
real conversations that you got to
Yeah.
have with the person that you're dealing with, because to him, just listening to you may be enough emotional support.
Mhm.
To him, going out and getting you some flowers may be the emotional support that you need.
Mhm.
To him, may be cash apping you lunch money. That may be emotional support for you.
And that might
And
work.
to you, maybe, but in that moment, you probably was like, all I wanted was a hug.
Mhm.
But he gonna do what he knows how to do.
Yeah.
And if you don't teach him, now
Yep.
let me say this real quick, because this status I be seeing on social media burns my skin. I'm not teaching no man how to love me. No, baby, you
Ooh,
gotta
you
give
got
him the
to.
You
understanding of
actually
who
do.
you are.
That's the kind
So
of
if
mistake.
he don't know that in that moment, like he could be like, okay, baby, like that. Hold on. Before you try to problem solve, because that's what my man's supposed to do. Baby, save me.
Mhm.
I just want you to give me a hug.
Mhm.
You gotta do it. You gotta meet him halfway. Ain't nobody no mind reader. When I come in the door, he may want sex, and I'm like, I just bought you a steak and some shrimp and some lobster, and he like, I ain't asked for that. I wanted you to come in and drop them drawers the minute you got in the door. I had a day.
I had a day.
But how can I know? You know, like,
Right.
let's just be realistic. At the time frames where we want certain things inserted, we have to let our partner know. Once you
Right.
start teaching them and getting them adaptable, like if it's that time of the month for you, he know you just want to be left alone
Oh,
and you
yeah.
just want your snacks. Now he know how to handle that. But if
Mhm.
I never tell you, and every
Right.
time it's that time of the month, I'm like, you know, it's that time of the month. I don't want to be bothered. I'm creating chaos.
Right. Right.
My emotion is really putting him in a position to feel uncomfortable with me. And then this is why the next woman feels comfortable enough for him to vent to, because she ain't taking that. She's
Mhm.
not giving him that. She's not putting those kind of problems on his shoulders. She's literally being the ear that you expected him to be.
Mhm.
Right.
You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Sometimes we got to step back and put the fire out in our own household. Look at ourselves and say,
that's
where?
why that communication from the front end is very, very important.
Absolutely.
It's like you got to know, like you said, you got to teach them how to love you,
Yes.
and you got to also let them know, like, this is what I
need.
want.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I need.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do this? And if so, how do you do it?
There's
Real
more,
quick,
there's
one-
more layer to that, though.
I'm not, and
Okay.
I think this question should be asked coming through the door. If you had a rough day, because I try to do this with my friends now too. Are you emotionally available for us to have this
That's a
kind of
good one.
conversation?
That's a good one.
Because I don't want to dump.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I could be calling you like, I used to be like, girl, you ain't gonna believe what such and such did, and I just went through this, and then I got this going on, and my baby cutting up in school, and my son dad, and I'm like, I could hear the whole background probably on fire.
Or just silent.
You know, I'm saying like her background, like she's listening,
Yeah.
but everything in the background is chaotic. And then her husband walking in like, babe, and she like, I'm here, and she's trying to balance. So now I'm like, hey, you got some free time? I need to talk.
Mhm.
So when you coming in the door and when you have a partner, it's like, hey, babe, like, you emotionally available to have this conversation right now?
Right.
How was your day? First, let's start there. Are you having a rough day? Yeah. Okay, so let me go take a little breather. Let me get, undressed. Let me go ahead and get myself comfortable. And then let's meet at the round table. How about at dinner? We talk about what we both went
That's
through.
why I
Right.
sit in the car now for 10, 15.
There it is.
Before I go in the house.
Here's the thing that I think we kind of all skipped over it in this little passage.
Mhm.
Is if this is your person, like this is your person, you're building those boundaries and those safe places anyway.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
building those things where you know that when you walk in the door, they kind of already know, like, okay, for this little brief moment of time, because this is the one thing on men's side, we may jump on the gang for about an hour when we
Mhm.
first came in the house.
Mhm.
It's not that we don't want to deal with the family or don't know. This is how we decompress.
Mhm.
So if your decompressing is, hey, babe, I want to talk about this at work. I have a thing that I learned from my parents that they do is we say, hey, it's coffee talk.
Mhm.
Okay.
And coffee talk is a time frame where regardless of what's going on,
Mhm.
whatever it is, we finna sit here and we finna vent.
Mhm.
It's a two-way street. We just if somebody at your job got on your nerves, we can just talk about that. If the promotion coming up got on your nerves, talk about that. If the stress of the studio is on my nerves, we talk about that.
Mhm.
When it's coffee talk, the whole purpose of this moment is for us to just release all that is sitting on us.
Mhm.
We're not trying to solve the problem. We're not trying to come to a conclusion. We just need to get it out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And sometimes it builds a stronger structure because now one, you've created this nice, safe moment
Mhm.
that you are always guaranteed to be able to go to.
Yeah.
So whether you are in a whole nother city and you get on the phone, hey, coffee talk real quick. All right, cool. I'll call you in about 15 minutes.
Mhm.
That's the key sign right there. That's
Yeah.
what we need to do. So creating that little notoriety of space eliminates a lot of the problem. But these
Mhm.
are the special things that you build with your partner.
Right.
Yes.
So even when you know, like you say, it's your time of the month, if your partner is in tune with you, or if you built that connection with each other,
Mhm.
we know when it's coming before they do.
And there it
Oh,
is.
you know
Yep.
what?
Yep.
The other day you was eating too much chicken. Yeah, it's about to get here. All
Yeah.
right, cool. I
Yeah.
know what to expect. So I
Yeah.
know this week it's gonna be rough. You're gonna be whiny. You're gonna be bratty. You're
Yes.
gonna need this. You're gonna want more hugs
Yes.
than normal. You're gonna want all this. These are the things I already know. So if you are an aggressive person at that time frame, I'm a little bit more patient.
Yeah,
There it
you get
is.
I'm a little bit more
Yep.
chill. I'm
Yep.
a little bit like, she just spazzed about that.
Mhm.
You know what? I'm gonna let it be. Ain't no
Mhm.
big deal. And then you start learning. So then when this whole period is done, and now you know y'all at the other end and y'all are happy and elated, like, you was wild this week. You know what?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Now coffee talk.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about yourself.
Yeah.
You know, it is
Yeah.
not taken as an attack. We're
Uh-huh.
laughing about it because it's a moment that we've already established. And I think a lot of these relationships, they don't establish the friendship part of
Yeah.
it. I seen you, you're attractive. I want to be with you. 2 weeks later, we done crossed the boundaries in the bedroom.
Uh-huh.
Now we're in a relationship. I don't know your blood type.
Yeah.
I don't know what you allergic
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, do you fall asleep or talk during movies? I ain't learned nothing about you. So therefore, when we have these disagreements, we don't know how to handle it.
Absolutely.
Both parties don't know how to handle it because we didn't build that bond or structure in the beginning. But if you built that, if you work that, we already know how to handle you in regards to situation,
Yeah.
both men and women.
Yeah.
And
we
that's
learn that. And
that's where
and that's
being-
another thing that's really missing right now with relationships.
And I think that even in a talking stage, you just need to be that, right? So I'm conversating with this guy new. Okay, we just talking on the phone. I'm in Walmart and he like, everything all right? And I'm like, I'm glad you asked because now I got the floor, right? And I'm like, it's not all right. Like I'm emotional. Like it's that time for me. I just want to eat chocolate. I want all these snacks on the shelf. He like, babe, like breathe. You in Walmart right now? I said yes, and I want to eat this and eat that. He like get it.
You just get it.
Just get it. But we need you. I needed that safe space. I'm letting you know, like I am a woman. I have these tendencies at certain times of the month.
Yeah.
I said, now if you think I'm insane, you could just hang up the phone and we could be ending it here. And he like you good. Like I got sisters, I had a mom, like I know what's going on. And I'm like, whoo, okay, now that I got that off my chest, I just found these cute little shorts on the shelf. Like I switched, I just needed them. I was bratty, I needed that moment. But and that's why I'm saying, like, be you in the beginning.
Right.
That's how you build a friendship. I'm like this. Now you want me? Do you want this? Like, you know what I'm saying?
We prefer you to be that in the beginning because we can prepare for that.
Absolutely.
If you are a whole nother facade or a representative of yourself because you want to look good and you don't want nobody to find out these different things about you, that's when we start to fall out of love.
Yeah.
Because as we start to see the you,
Yeah.
that's not who we were attracted to. That's not what brung us to you.
Mhm.
This version of you is a completely different person. So now we're more like, hey, can you go back to being that person?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it's like, no, that wasn't me. That was just the person on the resume.
Yeah.
We done got the job
Yeah, I
now.
don't
And it's
like
like,
Ooh,
okay.
because I had my dating
That's tough.
profile. I said I was 6 feet. I stepped out the car and they like 6 feet where?
With heels on? Okay, cool.
Not even
But,
with them bad boys
you
on,
know,
but no, like
But
stop being a
yourself,
representative. Yeah,
be
be
yourself in the
you.
beginning.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that's what we are more attracted to more than anything.
Yeah. Since I've stepped into like my Jordan year, like
Your
I'm not
Jordan
I'm
year.
not 23, y'all. Okay. I know y'all. But since I stepped into my Jordan year, which is really me taking all shots, I'm shooting. I can't even play basketball, baby, but I keep a pair of shoes laced up. Okay. So
You
since
ain't
I stepped
wrong.
into that year or that phase of my life, I just been like, I don't got no reason to lie. So if you ask me, I'm gonna tell you. I'm very open book. I'm very blunt. This is my life, right? This is who I am. And I've learned that was attracting more bees. I was the honey. Like I became me. I stepped into her. Like I'm her. So it was like, oh yeah, you know, like I want to go out and, you know, get some food. And I'm like, baby, let me tell you the guidelines real quick. I'm coming cute, but I ain't eating cute. Don't think I want no salad. You're not gonna order for me. Like, I love food. I'm greedy.
Yeah, I'm going.
Now, how you feel about that? Because before we get there, I'm telling you what I'm coming for.
Yeah.
And you know what we'll say? Okay, I got this good spot for us to go to.
He
So now we're not trying
he
to
said,
take you
pull
to
up
the-
on me.
Right, we're
Yeah.
not trying to go to the cute, fancy
Yeah.
little space. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you want to eat? You want to eat?
You want
All
to
right,
eat?
let me call
We
my
gonna
boy
go
Nick real
somewhere.
quick. We go hit his
I
truck.
pulled up
Yeah.
on
You know,
him.
like we gonna go eat.
Yeah.
Baby,
we
I'm
gonna
licking
go
my
there.
fingers at the table. He like, you so cute. I said, because I'm dropping sauce on the shirt and everything. I'm going to. I learned that trying, and I wasn't pretending. Right. It was just more so trying to be hospitable in the dating phase. Like, I'm trying to give you the grace, but I'm like, I'm giving you grace and I'm missing everything of who you are, and I'm giving you grace and you ain't even learning me because of
Yeah.
that. So I'm gonna give you grace in the same moment of being me.
Mhm.
And that's all. If you don't like it, I'm not for you.
Mhm.
I done got a lot of no's in my life, and at one point in time, them no's hurt it. But baby, now they feel good because
Yeah.
rejection is protection.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing right there. Yes.
So I'm
Yes.
coming, and I love to eat, y'all. Oh, okay,
stay
because
over
just
there.
in case somebody didn't hear me.
You stay over there.
Okay, you know what I'm saying?
I love to eat,
But I'm very much so, like, a lot of men don't cook. You know what I'm saying? And I cross paths with a lot of guys that don't mind understanding that I love to eat, but baby, I throw down in the kitchen.
Mhm.
Oh, you ain't got no lunch? I packed the lunch. Pull up to the job. Come get you some food. I'm one of them.
Mhm.
So just as much as you may feed me out your pocket, I'm gonna turn around and do the same.
And
You
feed
ain't getting
you.
no home cooked meals on it. Now you coming to work every day with, I'm one of them. Like, the guy took me out. He treated me real good.
Mhm.
Told me get whatever I wanted on the menu, and that made me happy.
Yeah, that'll make
Baby,
you
Whatever you
my
want.
appreciation.
Whatever
my
you
appreciation.
want on the menu is wild.
I said, can I try this
Wow.
and that? And we shared appetizers. We have a good conversation. 2 days later, I'm like, now I heard him, but he didn't think I heard him. So
Mhm.
we talking. And
Yeah.
I'm just taking in everything. I'm very observant. I got 2 days later, I'm at work. I'm like, hey, you got time this morning? He was like, what's going on? I said, you like those croissant sandwiches, with the bacon, egg, cheese, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Sausage, potatoes, fresh fruit, pull up.
Yeah.
I had made homemade lemonade, baby. I was squeezing them lemons over there. Saying, get what I want, oh baby, pull up on me. And he was like, what? And I said, and honestly, I had some leftover from dinner. I got you that too. So he had breakfast and lunch cooked. I got up at 4:30 in the morning and made that sandwich. So for all them girls that said they ain't getting up at no 3:30 for no man, baby, don't play with me.
And it gotta be like you said.
It's
though,
reciprocated.
that's the
Right.
thing.
He
that
poured
part.
into me.
Yep.
He made, and
You
it
gotta
wasn't
be
even to
pouring
get
into
what
you.
you want. He gave me the free space to be me.
Yes.
Now I'm coming hard behind you.
Yeah. and
Even as a
that's-
friend, if we don't even make it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And men love appreciation.
Mhm.
Now that small gesture, he was like, when the next time you want to go to a restaurant, baby, if this all is gonna take, bada bing, bada boom.
Right. whenever
Okay.
you ready.
Listen.
Just give me a date.
Yeah.
time.
So like, it ain't nothing to it. You ain't gonna know what's for you until you do it.
Yeah.
I'm very much so have discernment. So I put only good energy in my space.
Mhm.
I discern that. If you come in automatically out the gate with too many problems, you got to move
You
around.
gotta go.
But I don't mind pouring into something. I'm not losing nothing but energy, and you know what I'm saying? I don't have to pour for years to know you're not the one.
That's true.
I can pour into you, and if I don't see the reciprocation, you're not the one.
You're not the one.
And that normally shows right away. If somebody just take as you give, but they not giving back, they're not the one.
Yeah.
So we don't have to be sitting here playing crazy like, oh, she done lost it. She making sandwiches for every man she talked to. No, I make the ones that make time,
Yeah.
that's consistent,
Yeah.
that's going to show me that my pouring is not going to go to waste.
Yeah.
And when I got to remind you, or it's once a week you texting me, hey, how you doing? You're wasting time.
That's true. That's true.
You're a placeholder.
Yeah.
We got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, this was a good conversation. I enjoyed having you. We got to do a part 2.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
There's
There's
your
so
own
much more
show.
to talk. You hear him?
What he
You need
say?
your own show.
You need your own show.
Everybody, you know what? Shout out to everybody that always jump into my DM asking me to start a podcast. They've been saying this for like a year now. For some reason, I'm single as ever, and everybody, men and women, come and ask me for dating advice or like, what do I think? They value my opinion.
And that's
That's dope.
That's dope.
That's
yeah.
dope. But I've been in my own way. And this is why I thought that conversation was good today. Parenting, balancing,
Mhm.
I'm literally coming out of my shell. So this was
Yeah.
my first time coming out of my shell with a lot of things. And I said, if it's on the bucket list, I'm scratching it off. So maybe I'll go
I
ahead and look
love
into
it.
starting our own show because I'm gonna pop my shit.
Girl, pop
Sorry,
it.
Mom.
Pop it,
I'm gonna pop
real
it, girl.
hard.
I'm gonna pop it.
Well, y'all be looking out. She gonna do her thing. Y'all be
Mm.
looking out. Shoot, Tone, hook her up. We're gonna talk
Okay.
more about
I
that.
clearly just said it.
We're
So
gonna talk
There
more
it
about
is.
that.
that note is done already.
It's good. It's all good. So I just want to thank y'all so much for tapping in. And again, this is My Mom Podcast. I'm your host, Kenda, and I'll see y'all next week.